Welcome to Kathy's Right. I'm Kathy. Apparently, news isn't news anymore because I remember when news began to die. I remember turning on the television and literally watching someone read the newspaper to me on TV. And I remember thinking, okay, what the heck? You know, you don't do stories anymore. You don't go out and investigate anymore. You're literally going to read the newspaper to me. Well, now it's even worse. Now we've got ABC News listening to Fox News and then slanting it to make that sound like news because they're too lazy or unprofessional to actually do anything or do any sort of investigation into anything. Like they're not investigating what's happening at the border. They're not investigating the January 6th. That's all they can talk about is January 6th and Fox News because they don't have Trump to beat up anymore. You know, they used to beat him up all day long, every day. And now that Trump is not in office, they have lost their minds. Well, they lost their minds a long time ago, but really, they have nothing else to talk about. So now, if you turn on The View, all they talk about is Tucker Carlson. Another one of my favorite shows, Tucker Carlson. But yeah, Tucker Carlson, they had a whole half of the show is dedicated to making fun of Tucker Carlson, whose numbers are through the roof, because he's got the numbers, and theirs had tanked. So how do they want to, re-up and get some audience members going? They talk about who's on top. Hopefully, they can bait Tucker Carlson, get him to respond to their insults. Well, he hasn't bought their bait. Thank God he's smarter than they are. But, yeah, he didn't bite. I wouldn't either, because, my gosh, all they can do is they can't come up with a news story. So you have 4 hags sitting at a table with a fake audience. A fake audience. They have the same people in those little windows behind them that are clapping when they go off to a commercial. Fake audience. That's how much they've tanked. The left is losing. They are losing their minds. They are losing their people. And finally, they're admitting it. Finally. Why now? Why do you think they're admitting that they're tired of the mandates and the mask and all the orders from the government? Did you ever think the left would be the ones that are into government control of everything? Well, they are. They are into it big time. They virtue signal all the time. They want people now. Some companies are asking people when they do a Zoom call to wear a mask. A Zoom call. They're in their own home, probably alone, and they expect them to wear a mask. It's a virtue signal. Not virtuous in my book, but some sort of signal to let people know that I'm not one of them. I'm not a Trumpster. I'm one of you. I'm one of you crazy nutcase leftists who believe that Fauci is like a saint and they're pretending as though Fauci hasn't been wrong 99% of the time about everything. He was wrong about AIDS and now he's wrong about Corona. Do you remember in the beginning of this whole charade that Fauci said, I don't think mask will make a difference. And then he went from that to, well, if one mask is effective, then 2 masks would be even better. And he was very proud of himself for stating that. Who is even listening to this man anymore? And he's still on MSNBC every single day, as though he knows something that we don't know. And we're just waiting, with holding our breath for Fauci to speak again. Oh my gosh. No. I really want to see a Fauci bobblehead on somebody's dashboard at this point. The biggest news for the day is this. And Joe Biden called Peter Doocy of Fox News an SOB on the news. And that was all the news we really got for like 24 hours. Oh my God, he said a curse word. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So what? He says stupid stuff all the time. That's pretty much his MO. Just say stupid stuff. Well, now that's making the news. Not the fact that those police officers were killed. How many have been killed since the beginning of the year? A lot. Yeah, it was okay to have 574 riots in the summer of 2020 and destroy personal property, people's lives, businesses, and reputations. It was okay to do that. But now Biden says a cuss word and people are losing their lunch. Oh my gosh. On The View today, they brought up that case and they were going, oh, well, Lisa Ling was saying how our standards should be higher because, now that we have a Democrat in office and we don't have Trump, our standards should be higher. You know what? I'm not feeling that, Lisa Ling. I'm not feeling it because when they were talking today on The View, they were talking about college admissions and how they're reinstituting more of an affirmative action, in the name of equity and diversity and all that woke stuff. So they're trying to make it more reflective of what the left sees as inequities in our society. And then they made the mistake of giving numbers. Now, usually they lie with their numbers, but they made the mistake of saying, well, at Harvard, 15%, only 15% of the students are of African American descent. Now, I'm not sure if that number's true because it came out of the mouth of Joy Behar, so I don't know. It's up in the air. But listen, Joy Behar, Black people make up 13% of the population. So if Harvard has 15% African American, then that's pretty good. So what are you trying to say here? Don't make that mistake again, Joy Behar. It is always questionable when ABC News uses numbers. So I will not verify nor deny whatever Joy Behar says, because joy is no joy. On the upside, I watched Yellowstone all last week. Oh my gosh, what a great show. Let's talk about it. Whether you're into Yellowstone or not, it is a show that you can watch on Paramount. I've watched it 3 times, I think. Yeah, the whole entire series. And you wonder, why is it so popular? I mean, a lot of people, it's not for the squeamish of heart. It's not for those who can't handle a cuss word here or there. It's not for them. But I can handle it because, hey, I'm a big girl. I don't mean big as in size. I mean, I'm not going to tell you my weight or anything, but I was thinking about why. Why is it so popular? I mean, I'm not the only one who's obsessed with it. I am obsessed with Yellowstone. I'm obsessed with the character Rip Wheeler, not the actor, whole different dude. I'm talking about the character. Why are we obsessed with it? Why are so many people into Yellowstone? Well, I can pretty much give you that answer. It's because we are tired of the feminization of the males in our country, of men. We really crave men to be men. We're tired of this binary fluidity crap that the left is selling. We are tired, exhausted of it. Exhausted. We want our men to be men and women to be women and just call it a day and do that thing. So I think that is the appeal. And yeah, they happen to be a lot of good-looking men, bow-legged men in cowboy boots and jeans riding horses. And what's not to like about that? And the characters are just out of this world. I mean, all of them have their own interesting parts of them that are cleverly revealed throughout the season. There's a lot of criticism of this show. I've heard it. I don't agree with most of it. The only criticism I have is the fact that they don't show enough of Rip Wheeler. Period. Because he's the most interesting character. I mean, sure, he's in love with Beth, who's a badass. I mean, she's like this tough woman, and she will whip anybody into shape, and she has a lot of one-liners, which a lot of people make fun of that too, but I like her one-liners. I mean, most of my favorite old movies are just chock full of great one-liners, and to give that to Beth was genius, I think, by the writer. I think that was genius, because that's old school Hollywood. Without giving too much of the plot away, just in case you haven't watched it, I was devastated when Beth responded to the young man, Carter, when he called her mom accident. I was devastated. My heart broke for him. But then Evidence again of a really great story. If your heart doesn't break, you don't care about the characters. And that's the goal of the writer, is to make you care about the characters. If they haven't done that, then they're not much of a writer and it's not much of a story. But Yellowstone is a great story. I hope everybody watches that program if you're not too squeamish about a few bad words. Let's take a quick break now and we'll be right back. And just like that, we're back. Welcome back to Kathy's Right. Did you know that Babbitt was not the only woman killed by Capitol Police on January 6th? I mean, seeing as the left is obsessed with January 6th, they always say that they're doing investigations. They've got people in jail, in prison, who haven't even really been charged yet, treating them very poorly, stripping away all of their civil rights. And these are Trump supporters. That's how they want to treat us. They are sitting in prison, being poorly treated, to make an example, a warning to conservatives who might get too uppity. Nancy Pelosi and many on the left in the Capitol, they're waging a war against conservatives. And they're making anybody who is up against them, they call them insurrectionists. How can they call them insurrectionists when nobody was armed? I mean, if you were literally trying to take over a country, don't you think you'd bring a gun or something? No. The only people who were armed were the Capitol Police. And they killed Ashley Babbitt. But did you know that Ashley Babbitt wasn't the only woman killed that day? Because, they're doing an investigation, but they're not really investigating it too harshly. They're not looking really into it, because then they have to tell you about the FBI agent that was accidentally arrested by another FBI agent, because there were so many FBI agents there on January 6th, right there at the Capitol. They're not going to investigate it too hard. Trust and believe. But there was another woman killed that day. Her name was Rosanne Boylan. She was trampled, beaten, put to death by Capitol Police on January 6th. Investigate that, Nancy. They have a video that shows Rosanne Boylan being beaten to death with a post, I guess one of those poles, and trampled by the Capitol Police on the same day. That's some kind of insurrection where women are killed. It's not an insurrection. They just gave it another name. What it was, I think, coordinated effort by the left, because they had the most to gain and Trump had the most to lose. Originally, it was said that the medical examiner said that this woman had died of an overdose of opioids, of medication. That's what they originally said. Then the video showed her being repeatedly hit over the head by Capitol Police. And that is how she died. This is atrocious. This is how we are being treated by our government right now. And is it any wonder that people don't trust the government? So when the government says, you must mask, you must mandate, and they wonder why we question them, it's reasons like this, because we have been lied to repeatedly for years. The police officer who beat Rosanne Boylan is not even being investigated. Google that, because this is why you don't accept government cheese. This is why, because things are not as they seem. The fact that Ray Epps guy is not being investigated, that he's not being brought up on charges for instigating and inciting people to enter the Capitol that day. Ray Epps, we've all seen the videos of him. Are we hearing any stories as to who he was, who he was paid by? I wonder why. Why isn't Fox News on this? Well, Fox is talking about it, but you know what? There were people on podcasts across this country talking about this last year. And I'm wondering, what the hell? Why is it that we, people who are not professional investigators, myself included, podcasters, that we find these things and we come and talk about them, but mainstream media wants to talk about why is Tucker Carlson talking about M&Ms? That is what mainstream media is concerned with. Whether or not Joe Biden is saying a cuss word or not. Not the fact that 100,000 Russian troops are lining up along the Ukraine border. 100,000. Yet the media is wanting us to concentrate on Joe Biden saying, son of a bitch. Serious. I can't believe it. But I'm learning to just expect it, to expect the absurd, to expect the obscene from this government, particularly under this Biden administration. We should all be embarrassed. And they say, oh, but we can vote our way out of this. Well, I want to know, if I vote my way out of this, are we going to be using the same machines that we used last time? Are we going to be using the same, voting counters that we used the last time? The people that had the suitcases underneath the tables that we all saw video of, but they were telling us there was no there. 2020 election. We all know. But most people are too embarrassed to say because we'll sound like a conspiracy theorist. Well, I'm not afraid to sound like that. I'm not afraid. Fear not 365. I am not afraid. At the rate that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are destroying this country, we will be on life support by 2023. We will be on life support. People think, oh, the bare shelves at grocery stores are indicative of our doom. Well, yeah, that's just a taste of what Joe Biden has in store for you. Because that feeble old man is still in the pocket of China. He wants to put 8,500 troops to guard Eastern Europe, really, because of the movements of Russia. So with that being said, where are our 8,500 troops at our southern border? When they complain on the news every day about the guns, illegal guns that are shooting up people in New York, like the guns actually shoot themselves. No, we all know better. But they're complaining about the illegal guns, and the mayor of New York, the new mayor, former police officer of New York City, is saying, you know what, we're just going to address the issue of illegal guns. Well, guess where they're coming from? They're coming through the border. So, Kamala, that's a root cause. Hello, Kamala? Anybody there? No, apparently not. So America, we have woken up. We're not one of your woke comatose people. We have woken up to the truth that our government is not looking out after our best interest anymore. These are politicians who use clever words to manipulate us into thinking that they're looking after our best interest. And then they call politics on the next politician. They go, oh, well, he's just playing politics. I go, well, you're all politicians. Of course you're playing politics. Of course you are. That's what you do. That's literally your job description. That's it. You're a politician. Don't trust them anymore. Somebody once asked me, oh, Kathy, why don't you run for something? But no, don't want to be a politician. Period. They're dishonest. I don't know if they're dishonest before they become a politician or after. Because before, do they have ideals and they want to change the world? That's what I'm hoping anyway, because that might be like a remnant of that left in them. But after, all they're doing is getting reelected. It's like once they get elected to one thing, it's like they're working on their next reelection for whatever. And so, no, I do not put a lot of trust and a lot of stock in what politicians say or anybody on mainstream media. But that's just me. I'll just keep on living my life as best I can and hopefully and prayerfully looking after my family. And I hope you do so too. But this country needs to be on their knees in prayer to God. And that is all that's going to save us. Because if we have to trust our politicians, we're going to just be screwed. Period. We are on our own, ladies and gentlemen. That is why our Second Amendment rights are so important. We are on our own. It's us and God, after all. God bless you. And God bless the U.S. of A. Bye.